Hey guys, guess what? Kirby Planet Robobot came out like a week or two ago, and I really want to play it, but I haven't just yet. So I have a major Kirby itch and no actual way to satisfy it, so I figured I'd just, play a few games at the start of the series. This is Kirby's Dream Land, the first game in the Kirby series. Also, the game with possibly the best title screen theme ever. Not quite as good or as long as the one in Kirby Superstar, that remix, but it'll do. So, Kirby's Dream Land is super simple. In fact, you know that thing Kirby's known for? Eating enemies and gaining their powers? Yeah, this was before that was introduced, so it's pretty much just either spitting out enemies or eating them. Of course, Kirby can also float to avoid obstacles and whatnot, but yeah, no powers. That also means some of the enemies are kinda missing. I mean, you'll definitely see a few familiar faces, but it's actually kinda basic enemies. Like, of course, Waddle Dee or Poppy Bros. And it's also a very short game. This, of course, being a handheld game, is kinda perfect for that sort of thing, because it's so short I'm gonna be able to beat this in one part. So, yeah, it's fairly simple level design as well, I'd say, though Kirby level design doesn't usually get too complex. At most, it's like, hey, you need this power in order to get this collectible thing that you'll need in order to fight the actual final boss. That's pretty much it. Anyway, that was Poppy Bros Sr. He throws bombs at you, he jumps. Actually, that jump is probably more dangerous than his bombs, just because he's a little bit unpredictable. Either way, though, he's a fairly easy boss. It's a shame those bears aren't really in too many Kirby games, because I don't remember their names. I know these guys are Bronto birds, but the bears? Nah, I don't know who they are. They are kind of adorable, though, and goofy looking. Also, there's that guy riding the bear, or whatever it is. I just assume bear. Okay, so I think this is actually the... yeah, this is the tree segment. This is kind of cute. Not exactly the best, level aesthetics. I know I go on and on about that all the time. But, Kirby's Dream Land, kind of basic even in terms of setting. Kirby's usually pretty good about setting. Not my favorite in that sort of regard. But, not bad. Areas look cute. They're usually pretty colorful, which is very good. Nothing to either side. I checked. There's no extra life, or pep brew, or maximum tomato. Anyway, we're at our first boss. It is, of course, Wispy Woods. It couldn't be anyone else. So, Wispy Woods is pretty simple. He'll just spit wind at you, you just duck under that, and it won't hit you. He'll try to hit you with apples, but who cares? Use those as weapons, and he doesn't exactly have a pattern. Sometimes he might just stick to apples for the entire fight, but he's done. Pretty simple. We grab this star right here, and Kirby just multiplies and does a dance, as he is wont to do. Alright, so Castle Lololo and Lalala is the next one. I usually forget about this one because it was cut from Kirby Superstar, because basically that has a little story called Spring Breeze, and in that one it's basically this game in most of its entirety, just abridged, so... Actually, I wouldn't even say abridged per se. Other than cut stages, it's pretty much the same length, about 20 minutes give or take, depending on how good you are. And of course, that game actually has copy abilities. This one doesn't, though. Which is a little bit disappointing, but, I actually do kind of like Kirby's Dream Land. It's definitely not my favorite, but at the same time, it actually does simplicity really well. It is super short, but that's kind of perfect for it. Because it is so short, you can breeze through it fairly easily. Unless, of course, you're playing Extra Mode, which honestly is probably one of the hardest Extra Modes in a Kirby game. Because like most Kirby games, it cuts your health in half. The Pep Brew item, that's the little bottles you've seen. I believe those normally recover 1 little point of Kirby's health, while Maxim Tomatoes will recover all of its. And by the way, that was a lollipop. That just makes you invincible. Anyway, though... we're about to find a mini-boss, actually. Anyway, the Maxim Tomatoes, which are the little tomatoes with an M on them, those recover all your health. That's Lolo. He's going to push blocks at you. He's got his own puzzle game. He doesn't have his own puzzle game here, though. He is, in fact, an enemy, so goodbye. forever. We're not gonna see him again. Yeah, so in extra mode though, Pepperu, I believe, only recovers 1 HP, otherwise that would also be a full heal, and Maxim Tomato just recovers 2, since at most that's the most damage you can take without dying. We also found the bomb item earlier. Basically, you just inhale that and then spit it back out, and it will just barrel through enemies. There are a few items in lieu of copy abilities. They're kind of in the series. Oh, this is Lolo and Lala at the same time. They're gonna use teamwork to try and get us, and also a slightly more difficult room layout. Also, that background is trippy. It looks like it's kind of doing like an isometric thing in the background. Never noticed that before, I just noticed that it's checkered, but... Anyway, they're really not too tough. Just suck up the boxes, get out of their way if you're in front of them, because it is a little easier to suck up the boxes if you happen to be in front of them, because, as you saw right there, I think that was Lala, I think there was a little bow on her head, so that must have been her. Anyway, yeah, you can just completely get left behind by them. So, the next area is the Float Islands. What you fishing for there, Kirby? I can't tell what that is. Oh, ow, oh, ouch. Okay, that was uncomfortable. Okay, so, Float Islands. I feel like there's a reason I don't like this place all that much. Oh, right, there's one particular shotzo in this state. Ooh, the bomb explodes if it's left on its own. I actually forgot about that. There are 2 more items that we haven't seen. Again, they're kind of like copy abilities, but not quite. Nah, there was something else I wanted to mention. Was it about extra mode? Oh yeah, enemies are also far more erratic in that version. They are also different, like, the Bronto... Oh, that's a mic, actually. I forgot about this item. Mic works kind of like it does in later games, except you can only use it once, so it's more like Crash, but it's just a screen wipe. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right. So, Bronto Burts are replaced by some other enemies. I think there are a few replacement enemies here and there. Like, the mushrooms turn into cupcakes, except they, like, shoot frosting around. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. That is indeed a thing. I've never really made it far in extra mode, because again, it's like the hardest extra mode in a Kirby game, and unlike later games where there's actually, like, some cool benefit to it, like a secret boss, there's no real reason to do it here other than challenge, so, you're not gonna see it from me. I will admit, it's a little too difficult for my blood. Ooh, hidden one up. You know, you don't really see many in this game, which is kind of surprising, because, you know, Kirby has a reputation of being super easy, but it doesn't really load you up on that many lives. That and there's no, like, coin equivalent in this game, so you can't get lives from that, and somebody left their shell behind. That was very rude. This is also probably the least lore-filled Kirby. I figured I'd like to bring that up because, going back to Planet Robobot, apparently that game's pretty good, even, like, lore-wise. Like, this Twitter account I follow, Kirby Facts, is pretty excited about it, which is kind of nice to see. Oh, right here, I hate this shot, so. Picked up the spicy curry item. You might be familiar with this if you play Smash Brothers. Basically, you shoot fire for a while. As long as this music's going on, Kirby will have fire in his bizarre infinite belly, and he will shoot fire. And yeah, there it goes. Sadly, no one else in here to use it on. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, apparently Robobot, pretty good with the lore. So, I'm really interested in that. I was actually reading, like, about other final bosses in the series, because I didn't want to brush up on my Kirby lore, all the important Kirby lore, without spoiling myself, and that's worked. Haven't spoiled myself yet, and wow, that is one excited-looking whale. It's real tall. Okay, we're actually at the end of the stage, and now we're in the clouds. This is actually a pretty good lead into the next area, I have to say. And we grab, I think that's actually Mint, which is kind of like the curry, except it also allows you to automatically fly, and we're fighting Kabula. Kabula is a blimp, that is also a lady. Yeah, they gendered the blimp. I don't know why, but why the hell not? Kabula is actually probably one of the harder bosses in the game, since it's kind of just an unexpected shmup. She just fires a spread shot at you. I think that's her probably most difficult attack to dodge. I say probably, but she's got one other. Well, technically two. a normal shot and a different normal shot that I guess is a trick shot since Kabula turns upside down somehow? That's a pretty rad blimp. Okay, so now that we're in bubbly clouds, there's one enemy that I... Have fun falling to Earth. There is one enemy that I distinctly remember here that I'm pretty sure nobody likes. Any second now we should... Oh, I'm just gonna eat him. Anyway, soon... Yep, there we go. It's Scarfy, everybody's favorite adorable little monster. Just don't try to inhale it because then it will be less adorable and it will attempt to chase you around and then explode. Also, to note, Scarfy will explode when you hit it in this game. Doesn't always do that. Usually it's just exploding after you try to inhale it and it becomes a horrible monster. Actually, now that I think about it, I think there's another enemy here. Yep, Sir Kibble. So yeah, there are actually a fair few enemies here that are fairly prominent enemies in the Kirby series, like we have Waddle Doo there. But, of course, again, we can't actually get powers from them, it's just fancy enemies that one day we'll be able to get something from them. There's also Cool Cloud, but I don't think anybody really remembers that guy. Ooh, yeah, that's why you don't try to inhale Scarfy, because then they're terrifying. Right, so one thing that I don't believe I've actually mentioned yet is, the marketing of this game. So, of course, Kirby's Dream Land is a Game Boy game, meaning it's in black and white, and, you know, there's some grays here and there. But for some reason, the American marketing department thought Kirby was black and white, like, naturally, you know. So, basically, on the cover for the US version, they just have Kirby being white and not pink. Also for the commercial as well. But yeah, Kirby's always been pink, just in case you were wondering. It's just, they screwed it up, which I guess is the closest equivalent to Angry Eyes American Kirby. Instead of having little angry eyes, he's just the completely wrong color for some reason. Because again, I don't really know why you would just think that automatically, because they'd probably seen Game Boy games before, right? They didn't think Mario was black and white after Mario Land. Okay, so, oh, yeah. So this is Kracko Jr. In this game, he can fire little cannonballs for some reason. The strategy here is just wait for him to drop Waddle Doos and spit him back out at him. So, Kracko Jr., I don't know, I've seen people debate whether or not Kracko Jr. is a different character from Kracko, but I'm pretty sure it's just Kracko without the cloud around him. Oh! And I started on the star. Ooh, and speaking of stars, we're going to space! Alright, ooh, we get mint as well. This time, however, the mint will run out since we're not fighting a boss. But hey, you know, we can fly through this little chunk of blocks right here. This sure is level design. Alright, it's fairly simple, but I don't know, I kinda would prefer that if they gave me a power-up, there'd be a little more use for it other than just destroying blocks. So speaking of destroying blocks, I believe... Yep! Okay, so I believe the little stars right here are going to hurt you if you run into them, so don't. I mean, I can't imagine why else they'd be there other than just decoration, but it seems like it'd be a bit of a weird decoration. I don't think they'd really want... Oh, okay, so either their hitboxes are way off, or they are just decoration. I don't know, it's seeming like decoration now, but I don't know, that seems kind of weird that they dedicate the little starfall animation just for decoration. I mean, if they did, then that's fine, because that's cute, but still, it seems like an obstacle. Okay, so see that moon right there? Enter the moon. Oh, almost got hit by a parasol. And eventually we'll get some items. Yep, Maxim Tomato, couple of 1-ups. Yeah, I'd prefer to go for the 1-ups for, well, obvious reasons of I don't need the tomatoes. And here, we're gonna fight the boss. So, this is Kracko proper. See, he transformed into Kracko. Kracko Jr. is just his weaker form. And this is his final form, sometimes. Except when it's not. Sometimes he turns into Kracko 2! I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z other than just out-of-context voice clips about going even further beyond and whatnot. Anyway, same strategy here, just a few different attacks from Kracko. He's actually pretty erratic, but I didn't really have a bad time with this version of the fight. I actually beat him on my first try, I think, despite the fact that I normally find Krako to be one of the hardest bosses of the game. I don't know. These days I don't think he's as bad. When I was a kid, though, oh man, I was not good at Krako. And so we enter the final stage in the game, Mount Dedede. And we get this fancy introduction. Look at him go! Whee! That castle does not look delighted to see us. So, King Dedede's castle is kind of a boss rush. I love his little portrait of him giving a little peace sign and smiling. Not what you'd expect from the main villain of the game. I say almost a boss rush because we actually revisit the stage the boss was in. Not the exact level design, but aesthetic-wise, it's a revisit. Also, that tree right there is solid, so go beneath it. Nothing's really a problem here. Also, at the end of each section, there is just a Kirby dancing around for some reason. My guess is, basically Dedede tied his door to the bosses so that they could guard it. However, he also prevented Kirby from, or at least attempted to prevent Kirby from entering the boss rooms by tying the boss room's lock to Kirby's existence. So, in order to actually enter the boss room, Kirby must destroy himself in the past in order to move on. Which, you know, for anyone would seem like, okay, that's the end of my journey. I can't destroy myself in the past, that would be stupid. But Kirby? Nah, Kirby doesn't care. He will eliminate his past self via paradox. Just touch his past self and boom! That Gordo disappears. It's also a screen wipe as well, so I'm gonna guess the paradox destroys everything in the surrounding area. Because Kirby's just that hardcore. You think he won't mess with time just to get the food back from Dedede? No, he will. Oh yeah, by the way, I haven't mentioned the story yet, have I? In this game, King Dedede steals all the food in Dreamland, and Kirby goes to get it back. You can probably see why that slipped my mind. But yeah, this is pretty much the only game in which Dedede's actually, I guess, evil? I mean, it's not that evil. He just steals a whole lot of food so that everyone in Dreamland will starve, but I don't know, he probably feeds his minions, right? I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to work for the guy starving me, so some of Dreamland's inhabitants are getting food. Hey Kirby, how's it going? Boom, you're gone. And so he continues. Oh yeah, we don't get thrown straight into the boss here just because we have to pick up the mint first. Honestly, if you want to do this the easy way, you should probably take out either Kabula or Krako first, because they are the harder bosses of the four. Lo La 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 and Wispy Woods are all very easy, and their sections are also pretty easy as well. What would be the hardest section out of all of these? Is this the one where you're falling? Yeah, this one's actually really easy as well, since if Kirby falls for a while, he'll sort of do that faceplant, and when he does that, he'll just destroy any enemy he lands on. Alright, that takes care of that. So yeah, it's a pretty easy section. I'd say either Lo's section or Kabula's sections are probably the harder ones. So yeah, take out Krako first, cause this was actually a problem. I think his pattern was more aggressive here, so I didn't get lucky on my second try of this boss. He really liked swooping a lot, like right there. That is definitely a tricky dodge, cause if you dodge him without getting the waddle-doo, chances are the waddle-doo will walk off screen. Also, sometimes he just likes attacking really fast. That's annoying. But that's it. We've finished him, meaning we can enter Dedede's portrait and fight the guy. So Dedede's health bar is very long, and most of Dedede's attacks, I believe, are based off where you are when he begins the attack, especially that hammer attack right there. So since I started at the edge of the screen, once he pulls the hammer out, he's going to try to smash me when he's at the edge of the screen. The jump doesn't quite go as far, I think. Ooh, and yeah, he'll try to inhale you sometimes. The hammer is very tricky, though, because he can either just do a normal hammer strike, or he will try to jump hammer you if you stay in the air too long. I think that's it. Sometimes you can sort of manipulate the enemy, like Krako. oftentimes I find that if you float, Krako will attempt to just, like, saunter through the air at you rather than swoop. Not all the time, though. But yeah, the jump doesn't quite go to your location. I believe the little dash he does there where he trips and falls, I believe that is based on wherever you are at the moment, rather than it locking onto your position. But yeah, if I were to say hang out in the middle of the arena and he pulled out the hammer, even if I retreated to the back, he'd still use the hammer on the center. So you kind of want to stay close to Dedede, but not too close, just because he might inhale you. But if you stay too far away from him, then you won't be able to do that. And Dedede is finished, as is the game. Woo, look at him go! Aw, the castle's sad. Poor castle. It likes Dedede. I can't believe we would take him away from it. Very rude of us. And so those 5 stars transform Kirby into a giant balloon. And he will lift the castle into the sky, wasting food because it's just going to drop from the bottom, which is broken, I guess? And he's sailing over the ocean. Kirby, this is incredibly irresponsible. How dare you? Who's the real monster here? Dedede, who stole all of the food ever, or you? The being that would destroy himself in the past, cause several paradoxes, then drop the food into the ocean, just to get most of the food back to the inhabitants of Dreamland. I think we know who the real monster is. Anyway, thanks, Bubby. That's very nice of you. I don't know what you did, but you sure did it well. So yeah, that's the end of Kirby's Dream Land. As I said, short but fun. It's pretty easy to just breeze through once in a while if you feel like it. Definitely not my favorite Kirby game, but I don't mind playing it from time to time. It's pretty fun, good level design overall. It's just, it lacks powers, so yeah, it's not quite as good, because a lot of the charm is just switching back and forth between powers. And there are a whole lot of Kirbys, which is weird, because as we know, there is only one Kirby. 2 Kirbys? What are you talking about? That's impossible. So, those guys are probably just retconned into Waddle Dees or something. And here's the button combination that will kick you into Extra Game. You can do this even when you first start the game, you just need to know the code, but again, I'm not doing that because Extra Game's tough and kicks my butt. So, sorry Dedede, he's gonna throw a little... Oh, poor Dedede. Well, now I just feel bad.